Hello, 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 Christmas Flixers. Welcome back to Season 6 of Chicks on Christmas Flicks, where we can never have too many Christmas movies. We can only have not enough Christmas movies. Hey everybody, I'm Brady, and I am back for another episode. Oh my goodness, I hope everyone had an enjoyable Christmas holiday. Honestly, let me tell you something. I cooked, I baked, and I rested. That was pretty much how my whole Christmas weekend went. Listen, the good news is I finally figured out the sourdough starter, and I have baked a yummy sourdough loaf. Finally. The bad news is I figured it out after 5 failed attempts. Some of the worst bread ever baked in the history of mankind. Oh my goodness, it was so bad. It looked good, but then sometimes it came out super flat. Other times it came out like perfect, but then the taste was like bleh. But finally, and I'll tell you what my secret was and how I figured it out. I finally weighed everything. Now, I've had a digital scale, and what I did was I was measuring everything using the measuring cups. You know what I mean? So I would measure the sourdough starter by cups, but I finally started measuring the ingredients in grams and using I've had a KitchenAid stand mixer. I probably got it in like 2003. I've had the same mixer. It's one of those 5.5 quart mixer, but it looks brand new because I hardly use it. Sadly, there were years where I never used it, except for at Christmas time. I would always use it to make chocolate chip cookies, but I finally used it to make bread. So I used it to make bread, and I put the dough hook on and everything. And let me tell you, that was some of the best sourdough bread ever. I will never do it any other way. I will always measure in grams, and I will always use the dough hook to at least. Now the stretch and folds, I will do all of that, by hand separately. But I will do at least pulling that first dough ball together. It's gonna happen in the KitchenAid for sure after this. So those are my 2 secrets. Once you figure out the sourdough starter, which that's like a science experiment. But once you figure that out, use a KitchenAid mixer or a stand mixer with a dough hook. I'm telling you, and measure. Get one of those digital food scales and measure it. Measure the ingredients. Let me tell you, it makes all the difference in the world. Trying to measure it out using the cups and everything, it just did not work for me. It always came out just bleh, so gross. Either it would come out flat or it would come out fluffy, but it was just not, pulling the dough together. And I've watched 30,000 YouTube videos that tell you about how to make sourdough. And I've tried to do it by hand. And I'm sorry, I tried to do it by hand. I had patience. I did all the slapping and the stretching and the folding and all of this stuff that everybody told me to do. And it never once came out good. But the first time I used a stand mixer, it came out perfect. So I will only use a stand mixer from now on. So anyway, that is pretty much it for my Christmas holiday. Today I woke up, I made blueberry muffins. I made my son a pan of Toll House cookies. And from this point forward, I am just going to chill, relax. I'm going to try and sit down and not do a whole lot of anything. I have one more week of vacation time, which I'm so grateful for. I have been a busybody, though. My dad and I were talking about it yesterday. And I was supposed to rest, and I have not rested at all. Like, I have not rested. I've been off for a week and I have not rested a single day. So between this evening after I do these shows and get them posted, and tomorrow, which is a football day, and it's going to be a Christmas movie day for me, in between, I am going to honestly get rest, and probably Monday too. Unfortunately, I have to make a dental appointment and all that stuff, but I'm gonna try and make it so that it happens after Monday, so that for the next couple of days I literally can lay down and do nothing. And honestly, like, my house is clean. I have my robo vacuums going, to keep the floors clean. I kind of do a evening reset with everything, pick up each room as I leave it, so that I'm not leaving messes all around all day and all this kind of stuff. So my house is really together. Thank God I have gone through that whole organizing and decluttering stuff. So my house feels good. Everything feels good. My son and my dad, everybody has desserts and stuff to eat for breakfast. And I had coffee. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I had a latte today. Made myself a latte. I have quit using my Keurig and I have moved to pour over coffee. I don't know if anybody else drinks pour over coffee, but it is the best taste. And I bought the glass container and the glass pour over set, so that I don't get any of those dangerous plastics from the Keurig. And I know it's overboard. I feel like every time I hear about that, it goes overboard. But I've eliminated a lot of my nonstick cookware, and I've replaced it with ceramic and cast iron. I got cast iron for Christmas, and so I'm trying to do the healthy thing. And so the next thing to go is going to be the Keurig. So I found a coffee maker. The coffee maker is like $400. I can't even justify paying $400 right now. And I have 5 bags of coffee that I ordered. I do the auto ship for it, and I haven't been drinking it fast enough to get rid of the bag. So I've got 5 bags in the cabinet, and I'm I can't even justify buying a new coffee maker with the grinder and all that kind of stuff, which will require me to buy beans and leave the 5 bags of coffee that I have in my kitchen right now. And I'm no. So I bought a $20, paid $20 for a pour over coffee. I will do that until all the coffee's gone, and at that point I will buy a new machine. So that's enough of that. Anyway, so that's kind of my catch up with you guys of what's been going on and what I've been doing for Christmas. Today we're going to talk about some more great movies. We got a lot of stuff coming up. Okay, so The Christmas Baby, that was Hallmark. Make or Break Holiday, another Hallmark movie. Sweet Holiday Romance. Now, here's the funny thing with this title. There's a Sweet Holiday Romance, which is on Lifetime, and it's Sweet, SWEET. And then there's a Sweet Holiday Romance on Hallmark. Suite is SUITE, as in a hotel suite. So I'm going to talk about both of those today. A Christmas murder mystery that was on TV. No, not a Christmas murder mystery. I'm going to talk about a very merry mystery. The Christmas Checklist. I'll kind of give you a quick overview of that. I'm going to give you a deep dive probably in the next episode, because the Christmas Checklist is one of the series, the new series that came out this year. It's pretty good. A Rodeo Christmas Romance, Lifetime, thank God. Christmas at the Keller Ranch, Lifetime. Christmas in Alaska, Lifetime. Deck the Hallways, Lifetime. The Christmas Showdown, OWN. Single on the 25th, Hallmark. Merry Misconnection, Lifetime. I think that's Lifetime. And A Runaway Bride for Christmas and A Pickleball Christmas. Both of those are Lifetime. So I have been watching a lot of movies, and I have a lot to talk to you guys about. Okay, first things first, St. Nick shout-outs. As always, I love to begin the show with a shout-out to listeners, my favorite tradition. Of course, you guys know it's my favorite tradition. Today, I'm going to give you the shorter version of the St. Nick shout-outs. And I'm going to give some love to 5 listener locations. Remember, I don't know who you are, but I know where you live. Number 1 in St. Nick shoutouts is Boardman, Oregon. Number 2, Chicago, Illinois. Number 3 is Kingston, Jamaica. Number 4 is Dallas, Texas. And number 5 is Singapore. I can't believe I saw Singapore on my list. Yes, Singapore is on my list. Thank you, everyone, for joining and listening to the show. Okay. Honestly, today I don't have any holiday headlines. Again, they will be in the next edition. There's going to be quite a few of them, and there's going to be a few new movies that are coming out that I'm going to talk about. So we're going to get right into ratings and reviews and hot or not chick picks. Because, like I said in the last one, there's just so many movies that have come out that I had to catch up on. Man, it was crazy. Listen, as I get into the ratings and reviews, I don't know if you guys caught what Hallmark did this past weekend, but they had 2 of their most progressive movies. They had 2 premieres of 2 of their most progressive movies back to back this past weekend. In one, I didn't even, it was progressive, and it didn't even hit me till after I watched it that it was progressive. Because Hallmark deals with married couples, right? Or they're singles and they're getting together as singles and they may become couples, but it's usually marriage, right? There's usually singles that come together to get married. In this movie, the couple lived together. They were not married. I assumed they were married, and they were not married. And then I thought, because it's Hallmark, they have to be married, right? And then on Sunday, they had a second movie where a lesbian couple adopted a child. I was like, what? In one weekend? And honestly, it didn't really hit me until Monday. And I was putting together my reviews and I was like, wait a minute. This is ridiculously progressive for Hallmark. And they did it in one weekend. I don't know if you guys caught that. And for all of you who got in kind of your comfort zone and were like, yeah, Hallmark's getting back to... No. Hallmark was progressive as heck. And let me tell you something. I am here for it. All of it. All of the progression. All right. So I'm going to talk to you about the 2 movies first because that was like crazy progressive. And I just it didn't even hit me because I was like, this is a Hallmark. And I was not expecting this kind of progressive under the new management. I was not. I just was absolutely not expecting it. The first movie, The Christmas Baby. Ali Liebert and Catherine Burrell. First of all, I thought they were sisters. I'm telling you, I fixed in my brain that they were sisters. I was like, oh, they're talking about they got the same mother because they're sisters. No, because they're a lesbian couple. And I was like, wait a minute, you wouldn't kiss your sister like that. And it started dawning on me, wait a minute, this is a lesbian couple. It was so funny. I'm telling you, it took me a minute. Ali Liebert and Catherine Burrell starred in the movie. The premise is a couple receives a baby boy before Christmas with a note meant for them, right? So the mother wrote a note specifically for this couple to take the baby. While temporarily caring for him during the holiday rush, they navigate their relationship, careers, and foster to adopt process. So let me tell you this. Obviously, I watched both of the movies that I'm about to tell you about. This movie came on Sunday, and then Make or Break Christmas came on Saturday. So these were the last two Christmas movies before the Christmas holiday. I did not go into this movie thinking I was gonna like it. I was like, oh God, here we go again. I thought it was going to be kind of like Three Wise Men and a Baby, but it was two wise women and a baby. I had that in my mind, like the mother dropped it off, and then they were going to take care of it, and they were going to give it back. I did not see this movie going the way that it went, which is a great thing. It was not predictable for me at all. Like I said, I was probably 15 minutes into it before I was like, wait a minute, this is a lesbian couple. Oh my goodness, I'm ridiculous. I don't know if it's because I wasn't feeling good or what. It took me a minute to figure that out. I was like, oh, they got the same mother. They must be sisters. It was insane. But the movie was so good. It was so good. Was it Merry Christmas Ted Cooper good? No, it wasn't Merry Ted, but it was good. So I personally to me, this movie had heart. I totally bought into it. At the moment where, the couple has to consider, listen, a baby is a huge responsibility. The baby, having to take care of a baby is not easy, right? And it's definitely not easy when you weren't planning on taking, at least, like if you give birth to the baby, you've had 9 months to chew on the fact that when the baby comes out, you're going to have to take care of the baby, right? Like, not to be going to an event and have one just sat at work on your doorstep, right? So I would say, so you kind of saw their evolution from figuring out, okay, wait a minute, this baby was left for us and we have to take care of it, to falling in love with the baby, because it doesn't take long. Especially if it's yours, right? You immediately fall in love. When you're put in that position where you weren't even waiting for or wanting motherhood, and then this little being shows up, and okay, so I know there's going to be a level of love that's immediate, no matter what. But then you really have to figure out whether this is something that you want to bring into your life or not. And so they had to go through all the emotions, the roller coaster, the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs. And they basically took us, I felt like what I was doing was watching, I was a fly on the wall watching all of this kind of happen. And because they didn't make it glamorous, right? They didn't make it like this, oh, it's a wonderful thing, we have the babies. Or they didn't do the typical, the stinky diaper, you know what I mean? They didn't do the typical things with the baby. It was real life. We have to balance, our lifestyle with having this new little being in the house. And I think that's what I really liked about it. Like it wasn't meant to be comical. There was comedy in it, but it wasn't meant to be comical. I think it was really meant to be like, this is hard. Having the baby is hard. Making that decision that you're going to keep a baby is hard. That's not easy. It's not an easy choice. So I really liked this movie. Like I said, it didn't take Merry Christmas Ted Cooper off the running for my favorite so far, but it was definitely a good movie. So I would highly recommend this one. I gave this one 4.25 Christmas trees. 4.25 Christmas trees. Remember, Ted Cooper is 4.5. All right. The next movie was Make or Break Christmas. Remember, I just told you guys about the couple who lived together and they decided to go on a break. I actually love this movie. I did not think the movie was going to be what the movie was about. And it kind of had like the Hallmark premise where it was kind of a light premise. But I was like, no, this is actually not light at all. This is kind of heavy. So do you know, like when you're in a relationship, right? And you're arguing, but you're not really arguing about what you're mad about, right? So you're having a disagreement and it's about this surface level thing, but there's this really like deep level thing that's really at the core of why you're angry, but you don't want to touch it. You're almost scared to touch it because if you touch it, that could mean that you destroy your relationship. So instead of arguing about the thing you really should be arguing about or talking about or communicating about, you are instead fussing over how many lights are on the tree. And you know what I mean? That's where this couple is, right? When we find them. We find them upset with one another about these surface level things when there are deeper level things happening. But here's the thing. They said, let's go on a break. And so I was thinking they had to separate. Again, I'm probably near the end of this movie before I figure out that they're not actually married. They're actually just living together. And it fault Hallmark for this because I was like, this is a Hallmark movie. Of course they're going to be they're going to be married, right? If they're a married couple living in the same house, sleeping in the same bed, that they're going to be married. And no, they're not married. And then when I figured that out, I was like, wow, they're not married. So I really enjoyed the story. So what happens, they decide they're going to go on a break, and then by the various circumstances, both of their families end up staying with them for the holidays, and so they decide to fake it. They decide to fake it and fake their relationship until, the family goes home. But of course, there's all this tension in the house, and clearly they cannot hide that tension for long. So then, everybody kind of gets in their business and they have to work it out. They have to work out the problem. So I would say, again, this was a surprise. These two were surprisingly progressive movies. So if you want to see progressive movies from Hallmark, and I know there are a lot of people out there that do, watch these two back to back, because I was like, wow, that is progressive as heck. In one, you have this unmarried couple that live together, and this other one, a lesbian couple wants to adopt a baby. I mean, wow. Big ups to Hallmark for that. That's huge. All right, the next two movies I wanted to talk about are the sweet holiday romance, but sweet is spelled differently in each of the movies. And I love the fact that they had the same titles. uh, phonetically, right? They sound the same, but when you look at them, they're clearly not spelled the same. So the first one I'll talk about is Sweet Holiday Romance on Lifetime. And this is Aaron Carpluck and Christopher Russell. Now, both of these are Hallmark favorites. As a matter of fact, Aaron was just in The Three Wisest Men. She was in The Three Wiser Men and The Three Wisest Men. So she played him in this movie. But, you know, Paul Campbell, Andrew Walker, and Tyler Hines are the stars of that movie. You know, she was kind of a co-star in A Sweet Holiday Romance. She was the female lead, right, in the story, and she starred with Christopher Russell. So, and I like both of them. You know, and Christopher's done a bunch of stuff on the Hallmark Channel too, both Christmas romance and just, you know, romantic comedy. So in Sweet Holiday Romance, SWEET, Amanda, Aaron's character, a renowned pastry chef, is worried she's losing her edge. Wanting to reclaim her title as the queen of Christmas cookies, she enters the Chicago Christmas market cookie competition, right? But she decides to use in her cookie recipe a special fudge that's made by the aunt of Christopher Russell's character, right? And he is substituting for his aunt while she goes on a Christmas vacation, really to be with her boyfriend, right? And he completely dismisses how much work that it takes to run the bakery and also to make the fudge. So Aaron and he end up having to team up to make the fudge because he does not know how to make the fudge. And she needs the fudge for her special cookie for this Christmas competition. So you can see their relationship evolve over him having to learn what it is to be a baker and own a bake shop, and all the responsibility and all of the work that goes into making this fudge that he pretty much just dismissed when his aunt was making it. But now that he has to make it, he's like, oh, he gains a higher level of respect for all the work that goes into owning this bake shop. So I wasn't real high on this. As a matter of fact, this was a last minute watch on demand, on Lifetime on demand. So if you have Lifetimes and you subscribe to Lifetime, you have on demand. And if you go on demand, you can find all of this year's, the 2025 Christmas movies. You can find them all on demand and you can watch them. So if you haven't watched them yet, you can watch them. You don't even need Lifetime Movie Club to watch the 2025 movies. But I am sure that, I can't say I'm 100% certain, but, you know, I'm almost certain that that's only going to last until the new year. And at the end of the new year, you're either going to have to pay the on-demand price, which is like $3.99 per movie to rent, or you're going to have to subscribe to the Lifetime Movie Club in order to see the movie. So my advice to you, that if you haven't seen them and you want to see them, go watch them on demand while they're still free and they're still available. And they'll probably be available for the next week. I just watched Sweet Romance, the Rodeo Romance Christmas, and a Pickleball Christmas probably 2 days ago. So I'm almost certain that they're still available. Okay. But I would give Sweet Holiday Romance, I would say I would give that around 3.5 to 4 Christmas trees, right? probably not movies that I'm going to watch over and over again. But if it's on when I'm watching something else, I'm not going to change the channel. For sure. If it comes on, I'll watch it if it's on. But I'm probably not going to go seek it, which is why it gets a little lower rating. But it was good. I like the relationship between them two. I like the kind of slow burn relationship between them. There was kind of this enemies to lover kind of thing going on a little bit. So yeah, I enjoyed that one. It was definitely more tropey than maybe some of the other movies. And again, it's centered around, and you could see the relationship build slowly. So I liked it. But it's like I said, it was one of those good comfort watches. It wasn't something that you would watch over and over again to me. Okay, then the next movie was a sweet holiday romance. Now this is sweet, S-U-I-T-E. This starred Jesse Schramm and Dominique Sherwood. Right, so the premise is the writer Sabrina stays at a luxury hotel to ghostwrite a memoir. She meets Ian at the bar and lets him think she's wealthy. He's actually a secretary posing as nobility while managing a royal jewels exhibit. So, I would say this one was okay. And, I love Jesse Schramm. Like, she can almost do no wrong. The issue was not her acting or Dominic's acting. I think this is really kind of a story thing for me. It was really a writer thing for me of why it didn't get a higher rating. So what I would say that it to me, it tried to turn a trope on its head, right? Where instead of her meeting Joe Schmo, who ends up being a royal, she meets Joe Schmo as a royal, and he ends up not being royal, right? So kind of tried to turn the trope on its head a little bit. But, and like I said, Jessie, I've never seen her in a bad performance. Not ever, right? But I think my favorite from her is still Harvest Moon. And to me, that was more well written. There was a little more conflict. It was a little less predictable than this one. This one was, I think it was pretty predictable once you figured out the premise, right? you kind of knew how this was gonna end. And any of us could have written the ending if we've watched enough Hallmark movies, and I think that's where it suffered. So I give it 4 Christmas trees. 4 Christmas trees. It wasn't bad, but it was another royal story. Again, they tried to turn it on its head, but it didn't. It still was predictable. All right, number 5 on my list is Deck the Hallways. This was on Lifetime. So it starred Naika Toussaint, who, if you don't know her, she's a black woman who was in Love and Store, Over the Moon in Love. It starred Jamie Calloway, he starred in a few Hallmark movies. He's also starred in Lifetime movies. One of the big Lifetime movies or series that he was in is Merry Little Christmas. The Merry Little Christmas series. He's been in that one. At one point, Jamie, to me, was like the hardest working man in TV Christmas movies, because he had Christmas movies everywhere. He was working so much. I want to say it was like just a year or 2 ago, and he finally slowed down. But for a while, he was constantly in stuff, and I was like, good Lord, take a break, dude. And so you have Naika Toussaint, and then you have Jamie Calloway, and then you had the glorious, wonderful Loretta Devine, who I absolutely love in just about everything she does. Like, to me, she can almost do no wrong. Deck the Hallways to me it's so good. So good. I would say if there was a movie, if you could only watch one movie on Lifetime this year, Deck the Hallways is that movie. 100%. I would watch it again and again and again and again. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna. It's on my DVR. It's gonna stay on my DVR. It's good. It's that good. It's that kind of good that I'm gonna watch it over and over again. Okay, so the premise. Sparks fly between a tech executive and her charming childhood crush as they work together to revive her grandmother's festive holiday traditions. It's really her grandfather's traditions, and her grandmother was kind of on for the ride. But her grandfather passes away, and the grandmother is dealing with the grief, but she's not dealing with the grief in an expected way. So instead of Granny being at home, depressed, sad, crying, Granny has gone completely wild. So Loretta plays this Granny gone wild grandma, and she is hysterical. Honestly, this was one of the most well-written comedic performances I've seen in a Christmas movie probably ever. The script, the dialogue, whoever wrote the script for this deserves all the awards. Like, whatever awards are out there for. It was so funny. I laughed from the beginning of the movie to the end. The jokes were pitch perfect. They were perfect jokes to me for a Christmas movie, a TV Christmas movie. It did not take me out of the Christmas movie comfort zone, but it was hilarious. Oh my gosh, she was just hilarious. There were like a few zingers. They were talking about the baby. So remember, I was just talking about the Christmas baby. In this one, there's a gay couple, a male couple with a baby, right? So they've just adopted a baby, and she was helping them with the baby. She called the baby a potato with reflexes. And I mean, the jokes don't end. They just don't end. And then you have to hear the jokes in Loretta's voice. It's her voice just is comedic in and of itself. So if she's delivering these lines in a comedic way, it's just hilarious. So there are a bunch of touching moments throughout this movie. Very heartfelt, but it's mostly funny, right? There's some unexpected romance, not only between Naika and Jamie, but there's other romance going on in the movie. For me, this movie bumped a Keller Family Vacation out of its slot. 100%. I would put Deck the Hallways above or equal to Merry Christmas Take Cooper and above a Keller Family Christmas Vacation, which I would probably bump down to maybe a 4.3, right? Still above most of the other stuff, but definitely below Deck the Hallways. Like, if I had a choice, if I'm holding my hands out and you offer Deck the Hallways or a Keller Family Vacation, which one am I going to take? Deck the Hallways 10 times out of 10. It was so good. I highly recommend that you go see that one. If you have Lifetime as a channel, go watch it on demand. You can watch it on demand, probably for another week at least. So catch it on demand. it you will not regret it. You will not regret it. And if you don't laugh, I don't know, there's something wrong. You're broken. Because it is just hilarious. All right. Speaking of Keller family, Lifetime had a Keller family movie, a Keller family movie, I would say, called Thank God Christmas at the Keller Ranch. It starred Ariel Kebbel, which she's been in a bunch of Hallmark movies. You'll know her from A Bride for Christmas. And then she's been in like other Hallmark movies that were not Christmas related, right? And then, but most famously, I think you will know her from the Christmas classic that is A Bride for Christmas. And then Tyler Hilton starred in this with her. This follows a pro hockey player who finds romance with a grieving rancher. The grieving rancher is Ariel Kebbel, right? She's grieving the passing of her husband, and she has a son. And the hockey player suffers an injury, and he can barely walk. And so they're kind of desperate for a solution, and she has a ranch where they do equine therapy. And so finally his agent recommends that he goes to this ranch. And of course, there's kind of this enemies to lover dynamic going on between them, right? But eventually, the relationship improves. What I will say is that Lifetime has turned a corner on Christmas movies, and I am actually kind of surprised. So give Sarah Drew the credit or blame Sarah Drew, however you feel about it. But there's a lot more sexual content in the movies than in previous years, prior to Janet Kramer was in that movie with the Cowboy Christmas Romance. That's it. Cowboy Christmas Romance. So, that was billed as like the first Christmas movie with sex in it, even though it didn't have sex in it. Kind of had the before and the after. It didn't have the during. And so I think since nothing negative happened in them showing that level of sexuality in a Christmas movie, they decided to run with it. And so Thank God Christmas at the Keller Ranch definitely would fall in that category, which is kind of stunning because of obviously the title, Thank God Christmas at the Keller Ranch. So you feel like it's a little religion, and then where the movie ends, you would actually think, oh, wait a minute. But no, there's some hanky-panky that went on in that movie. But it was very brief. I don't want you to think like the whole movie is all hanky-panky. It is not. It was a brief moment in the film. But it was memorable because you don't typically see it in Christmas movies, right? So, but I have to say, I really enjoyed that movie. I enjoyed the story. I definitely fell in love with the characters. Like I said, the sexual moment was just a brief moment, and that did not overshadow, for me, it didn't overshadow the rest of the movie. I know there's other people who might have an issue with it, so don't say I didn't give you the heads up. But like I said, that moment was so brief for me, and I didn't feel any discomfort or anything like that. So, well, there was a couple moments, but they were very brief moments, and you kind of saw the before and the after. There's no during. And yeah. And there's another movie Lifetime did for this year that has similar content, which again makes me. This is why I think it's more. It's becoming a thing with their Christmas movies now, and you don't know when you're going to see that and when you're not. But we'll talk about another one later on in the show that had kind of similar content. Anyway, I give thank God Christmas at the Keller Ranch a 4.25. It was pretty good. That was one I will definitely probably watch again because the acting was superb. They were great. Love the characters, love the story. It was a little more this was a little more Miracle of Christmas style, right? It was definitely more one of those kind of heartfelt stories that kind of that could lean toward tearjerker, except for it was not a tearjerker for me, but it could lean towards that. Definitely more towards that than romantic comedy. There might have been a couple of comedic moments in it, but they far and above. This was more of a dramedy than it was a romantic comedy. So for sure, I enjoyed this movie. But yes, just know that the sexual content on Lifetime movies is becoming a thing, I think. And we'll probably see it more and more. I saw it twice. I did not see all of the Lifetime movies, obviously, but I saw it twice. And so you just need to be aware that if you have issues with that kind of content in Christmas movies, then you need to do your research before you watch Lifetime movies. Okay? All right. I'm going to take a quick break, but I will be right back with the hot or not chick picks, and I've got a bunch of them. See you in a few. It's Christmas in July, and what better way to spend it than reading a holiday story that begins in July and takes us all the way through the big day. As Nikki approaches her 50th birthday, Christmas in July, a sudden revelation sparked by more than just summer heat sends her life into a tailspin. The achievements she once prided herself on, a home, a car, now feel hollow. Her vision board, once a hopeful map for the future, now seems like wasted effort. Her job is no longer fulfilling. Nikki's got it bad. To top it off, her boyfriend Smith proposes, but she's not even sure about him. What should be a celebratory milestone becomes a plunge into despair and a brush with her guardian angel, Jesus, and some sweet potato pie. You've got to read the book to find out the details. I'm just saying. Her guardian angel delivers an ultimatum. Find her second act by Christmas Eve. Failure means she'll spend the rest of her life with dark days. I mean, who wants to live the rest of their life in dark days? With fear of eternal hot flashes threatening her days and nights, she takes on the challenge. Embarking on her second act leads Nikki into the gravitational pull of Evan Goodman, the hot doctor who makes her feel content, and Jordan Devlin, her first love who ignites passion, or a dangerous spark. I mean, in the game of love, who can tell the difference? Caught between the safety of contentment and, well, fire, Nikki must make heart-wrenching choices. Time ticks away as she navigates the path from Christmas in July to Christmas Eve, desperately seeking her true calling, chasing her dreams, and discovering which romantic interest will help her bloom into the best version of herself. The Nick Before Christmas is a hopeful romantic comedy with a little bit of Jesus and sweet potato pie and a whole lot of self-discovery. This enchanting narrative is the perfect holiday read to fill your heart with the warmth of Christmas love. And now, back to Chicks on Christmas Flicks. And welcome back to Chicks on Christmas Flicks. In the previous segment, I gave ratings and reviews for The Christmas Baby, Make or Break Christmas, Sweet Holiday Romance, A Sweet Holiday Romance, the duo, Deck the Hallways, which I loved, and Thank God Christmas at the Keller Ranch. Okay? So now it is time for the Hot or Not Chick Picks, and I have a few to talk about in the Chick Picks. All right. So the first one on my list is Single on the 25th. I definitely give that a hot. Lindsay Fonseca, who we all know, if you've been listening to the show long enough, you know she is like one of my favorite actresses in the Hallmark universe, and Daniel Lissing, he starred in this movie with her. So last year, Daniel Lissing was in Santa Tell Me, and I think before that he went to Great American Family, but apparently he's back in the Hallmark family. I definitely liked this movie a lot, and it's like I said, with Lindsay, it's hard to make me dislike a movie, but this one is really good. And it's about spending Christmas alone. On YouTube this year, I saw a bunch of videos. I didn't watch them, but I kind of was doom scrolling a couple of times, and I saw a bunch of videos about people spending Christmas alone. And of course, they filmed it, right? for the whole world to see. If I'm spending Christmas alone, I'm just spending Christmas alone. I'm not filming the whole thing. It's not a production. It's just me chilling. But anyway, they had these kind of these productions with them spending Christmas alone, and there were people who seemed to be, good with it. They're like, I'm good with spending Christmas alone. And there are other people who seem to be struggling with it. I have nobody and I'm lonely, and there's a difference between you being alone and lonely, right? So it was interesting to see this movie play out, in that Lindsay's character basically, she kind of missed opportunities to be with family and other people for various reasons. And so she ended up having to spend the holiday alone. And it was something that she kind of had to get used to, And so Daniel Lissing, his character, helps her feel okay, being alone on the holiday is not the end of the world. You could still do stuff. You could do stuff by yourself. You could take yourself out on dates. You could do all that kind of stuff. And it's cool. And it's all right. And the world will not end because you didn't spend your holiday with somebody. And I love that. I actually really love that, that storyline. I feel like that was a good, storyline for that movie. So, Single on the 25th gets a hot for me. The Christmas Showdown. This was on OWN. It starred Amber Marshall and Corbin Reed. Corbin Reed is a woman, if you didn't know. And Loretta Devine was also in this. She had a smaller part, though. Not Deck the Hallways. This is not Deck the Hallways, okay? I would give this, The Christmas Showdown, a warm. And one thing I really liked about this movie, again, it's centered on the friendship. So this friendship, these friends were very close together. They grew up as tight friends. and they kind of had a falling out. And then in their grown-up life, after they fell out as kids, they kind of came back together as adults, and they had to kind of work out all those issues in the past, because they had to work together. So, or they had to find a way to work together. So, I give this a warm. The romances, there were romances in the story, but the romances were secondary to the friendship. And I think I talked about another movie like that in the previous episode, where I talked about An Alpine Christmas, where the sisters, their relationship, the relationship between the sisters was kind of secondary to the romances. It's the same thing here. Secondary to the romances. But that one to me was just like a way better telling of the story, and way better acting, and way better writing, and all of that stuff. I think this could have been, this was good. It could have been better with better writing. But I thought I actually thought this was pretty decent. So I would give the Christmas Showdown, and I have not been a fan of own movies over the years and stuff, but this was, to me, one of the better ones. So I would give this one probably 4 Christmas trees. 4 Christmas trees, or a warm, right? It wasn't hot. It wasn't not. It was warm. Okay. All right. The next movie is Runaway Bride for Christmas on Lifetime Movies. This starred Nichelle Turner and Mark Ganime. I don't know if you guys remember Mark Ganime, but he's been in a couple movies recently that I super liked. One, To All a Good Night, which was on Lifetime. Which was on Hallmark Mysteries last year, and then he did Candy Cane Lane, or Candy Cane Christmas, or something like that. And that was on Lifetime. And I loved that movie as well. So he's batting 1,000 with me right now. All the way up until he got to this one. Runaway Bride for Christmas to me was not hot, was not, it was warm. I would give it a warm. It wasn't his fault, though. I wouldn't fault him for it, and I wouldn't fight the writing for his character for it. I would probably place more of the blame on Nichelle Turner's movie. But what happened? You had a runaway bride, right? Obviously, in the title, it's Runaway Bride for Christmas. You had a runaway bride who returned home, and then she ended up kind of linking up with her, old high school crush, right? And he's kind of nursing a broken heart. She's nursing a broken heart. So you have two broken people kind of finding one another. And they've got to kind of work through the crap so that they can actually come together. And so it was a good movie. And then he is a single dad. So he's not only bringing his broken self into the relationship, but he's also bringing his son, who was broken in a different way. So, yes. I would say this movie is probably deeper than you think. It's probably, I would call it more of a dramedy than a romantic comedy. Definitely a little more dramatic. But I would say, it's worth a watch for sure. It's worth one watch. I would give this, to me, it's a 3.5. I would give this a 3.5 Christmas trees. Like I said, warm, not hot. All right. Number 10 on my list of movies to talk about today, the next movie, is A Pickleball Christmas with James Lafferty and Zibby Allen. So let me tell you guys about this one. This is that second movie I was telling you about from Lifetime, where I have a little beef with this one. So, and thank God, a Keller Ranch Christmas, a Christmas at the Keller Ranch or something like that. In that movie, the sex was like well integrated into the story, right? It was a natural progression for the things that were happening in the story. In A Pickleball Christmas, there is a moment where there is some sexual content, but it was like getting slapped in the face with ice. It was like, where did that come from? How come that is here right now? It wasn't even, I wouldn't even say it wasn't a natural progression. It wasn't even necessary. It was just kind of thrown in there. And I think that's where I have, I got a little beef with how they used it in this movie. I don't even think they needed it. Honestly, they could have just done, kind of the unexpected kiss thing. They could have done that and left it at that. And they didn't. And they went all in with the sex. And so what you have in A Pickleball Christmas is you have this tennis star who decides to retire, go back to the family business, and finds out that the family business is no longer tennis recreational courts. It's actually turned to pickleball because of this pickleball pro who's at now kind of running things. And so he is forced to kind of work with her in a pickleball tournament in order to kind of progress the family business, right? To kind of save the family business. Gotta save the family business. Another save the family business kind of movie. Now what I read was that the Pickleball Christmas story emanated from a Lifetime movie exec who got into playing pickleball and was like, we got to do a movie. And so this is kind of the result of it. For the most part, I thought it was a good slow burn. It was, the couple, they kind of slowly got together and all of this kind of stuff. But then, they're kind of in the middle of the slow burn and they're like jumping each other's bones. It just happened so fast. And it didn't seem like a logical, like they could have dialed that back. It didn't have to be sex. To me, in this movie, it seemed like sex for the sake of sex, right? So, it was funny though. It was a funny scene. But, but not necessary. So, for me, Pickleball Christmas was, I would call it warm. I would say it wasn't great. Like the acting didn't knock me over. Translation into Christmas trees, it probably would have been like a 3 to 3.5 Christmas trees. Watch it once. Know that there's sex in it. The before and after, not the during. And you might enjoy it. There's some comedy in it that you might enjoy. It's worth watching once. All right. The last movie on my list today is Christmas in Alaska with Mark Rosner and Emma Johnson. Now, Mark Rosner has been in so many Hallmark movies. It's ridiculous. So this was actually a good movie. It was actually a good movie. Is it one that I will watch over and over and over again? Or that, I will see that it's coming on and I'll be like, oh, I gotta go watch this movie. No, it's not one of those. But it is definitely a good comfort watch, right? So I would give Christmas in Alaska a warm. Again, not hot, but not. Okay? And so the storyline for Christmas in Alaska is rival journalists competing for the same lucrative promotion get stuck together in snowy Alaska after their plane is forced to make an emergency landing. They find themselves caught up in a totally unexpected Christmas romance. So, you know what movie this reminded me of? Snowed In. If you know Snowed In, it was a Lifetime movie with Bethany Joy Lenz and Andrew Walker. The similarities are that they're journalists competing for the same promotion, and that they have an emergency landing in a place they're not expecting to land. The similarities kind of end there, right? There's some other little twists that they have in this story that definitely make it not exactly like Snowed In, but there are some similarities to Snowed In. And I would say that Snowed In is like one of my favorite movies from Lifetime, like ever. Like, I bought that movie and it's on my Prime account, so I can watch it anytime that I want to watch the whole thing. Christmas in Alaska definitely will not be in the category with that movie to me. It's definitely, to me, steps below that. So I would give, like I said, Christmas in Alaska was warm for me. And if I was giving it Christmas trees, it would be like 3 to 3.5 Christmas trees. Not bad, but, not great. It definitely not Deck the Hall. Deck the Hallways for sure. That's that movie that, again, you could watch it over and over again. You put it on your DVR. It is hilarious. It's going to be hilarious for a long time. I don't know who wrote that. I have to look up who wrote that. Whoever wrote that is a comedic genius. That was just funny. That was so great. And anything that they write from this point forward, like, I will track them. And if I see that they're writing another movie, I'm going to watch that movie. That's how good that movie was and how good the writing is for it. All right. So that is it for today. So in the next episode, I'll be talking about ratings and reviews and the hot or not chick picks for Rodeo Christmas Romance. Oh, what fun. That was Amazon Prime with Michelle Pfeiffer. I love Michelle Pfeiffer. The Best Thing About Christmas, A Christmas Murder Mystery, Unexpected Christmas. That was a feature movie. A movie feature movie that is now on Stars. Karen Kingsbury, The Christmas Ring. That's on Prime. Hope's Holiday Magic. That's free on Prime. And there are probably like a few other like movies that I found on Prime and Netflix that I will check out, and I will let you know if I add more to the list. But those are going to be the main ones. And then I'm obviously going to be talking about the Christmas series that I love. Like, I would say, I don't know if there's 10 series to talk about, but I think there's going to be like a list of 8 series that I love. That I'm going to tell you guys about, and make sure that you put it on your watch list for if you want to catch them on demand, or if you want to catch it to, if you want to go on demand, or if you can catch it on one of your favorite streamers. So that's going to do it for me today. Thank you to my music and show editor, Will B. He created all the custom music for this show. He's at Wildcard Music, and you can find his IG page in the show notes. Until next time, remember, at Ticks on Christmas Flicks, we can never have too many Christmas movies. We can only have not enough Christmas movies. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review on your favorite platform, and tell your Christmas movie loving friend about the show. Where can you find it? I'm so happy you asked. Podcast platforms: Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, and many, many more. Check the show links in the notes below. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Chicks Christmas Flicks. Thank you for listening in, and I will see you probably next weekend after I finish watching all the remaining movies that I have on my list to watch. Okay? So see you guys next week.